Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day is going great. Mine's been pretty good so far, and today we're talking about the number 11 ranked Overwatch League team, and this one might come to a surprise to many of you guys, specifically after my part 2 series of the best thing about every Overwatch League team. I did seem pretty high on the LA Valiant yesterday, but I do think they are going to slip a little bit this season due to not making enough changes and progressing forward like a lot of the other Overwatch League teams and the new expansion teams coming in. Now, of course, some of you are going to completely disagree with me. The LA Valiant, they were the best team in Stage 4. They almost went 10-0. They were the Stage 4 champions, but they went into the Overwatch League playoffs and they disappointed. They got shut down by the London Spitfire, who, yes, were insane at the time. They went on a crazy red hot streak and they took everybody down very easily. So I'm not going to hold that against them too much. The London Spitfire were an insane team during the playoffs. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down every reason why I believe the LA Valiant is going to slip this season and become a worse team than they were last year. Let's also remember, rank 11 isn't even that bad. It's still in the playoff range. So I'm not saying that LA Valiant has no shot at making the playoffs. They definitely do have a real chance at making the playoffs and maybe even being a contender. But going into the Overwatch League, this is where I rank them. If you guys are excited to continue this video, do me a favor real quick, go drop a like on it. Every like really helps support my channel and it shows that you guys do appreciate my content, so I love seeing that. And subscribe to my channel if you want more daily Overwatch League videos. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So let's start this off by going over their current roster and the changes they made since Season 1 of Overwatch League. So looking at the DPS players, we have Agilities, Bunny, and KSF. Moving on to the off-tank role, we only have one player, and that's Space. Then the main tanks, we have Fate and Kuki. And lastly, the supports, we have Kusta, Kariv, and Izayaki. Now, from what we know, Noah did say in his notes a video created on the LA Valiant YouTube channel. You guys should check that out, give some information and insight on the team. He did say that Kariv is moving over to DPS full time. So Kariv will be DPS along with Agilities, KSF, and Bunny. This is definitely an interesting change, and we will discuss it more in a little bit. Let's move on now and talk about some of the changes that the LA Valiant did make during the offseason. The big one, they lost Soon. One of their best players, arguably could be considered their best during the end of Stage 4. And also, in Noah's notes, the CEO of the LA Valiant, he did say the reason why they lost Soon is just because he wanted to play in his home country. And the LA Valiant, they said they respected that and they sent him over to Paris. So it's not like the LA Valiant wanted to get rid of Soon or decided, hey, we don't need Soon, let's go ahead and trade him or get some money for him. They probably wanted to keep him. Other than that, they lost 3, I guess I could say, useless players. Obviously, they're not useless. But looking at the LA Valiant during Season 1, they kind of did alienate their substitutes, and that was a big thing about their team during the entire season, that they weren't really giving their subs a chance to play on the team or practice or even be near the team. They had them separated in like their own little gaming section where they would practice for just scrims or something. It was weird. We saw a lot of content that the LA Valiant pushed about that during the beginning of the season. So losing Finzi, Numlocked, and Verbo, pretty much players who never touched the Overwatch League stage. I know Verbo did in some cases, but overall he didn't really touch it. So losing these guys isn't a big deal. Again, the big one was losing Soon. Now let's take a look at the additions they made during the offseason. They signed one player, and that's Kuki from the Seoul Dynasty, who is going to be probably a substitute main tank for Fate, which is an interesting decision to sign a main tank. I feel like during Season 1, what a lot of teams learned was that we should run one main tank, and that's kind of the role where you don't want to switch things up, where like DPS and maybe supports are roles that you could switch up a little bit more without causing too much disruption in your team. For example, a team like New York Excelsior, I really do feel like having Yanis and Manu in there kind of 50-50 or 60-40 was a big mistake, and at the end of the day kind of was the downfall of them. And a team like Seoul Dynasty was running people on main tank left and right. It didn't work out for them. A team like LA Gladiators, who struggled until they got their solid main tank Fisher. And then you look around the league at the teams who just had a consistent main tank in 24/7 and didn't really switch it out. They were more successful. So I don't really see the point of adding Cookie in here unless Fate really did suffer from burnout during Season 1. Then I can see why they wanted to add him just in case he does burn out again. But this is my first issue. The lack of a additions to this roster. I guess we could kind of consider them swapping Kariv over to DPS as an addition to this roster because they are adding another DPS player, but they're losing a flex support, and to be honest, Kariv was a pretty good Zenyatta, and I don't know if Izaki will be able to cover that role as well as he did during Season 1. I feel like they really just need something to cover that void that Soon is leaving them with. And who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Bunny, Kariv, and KSF will be able to pick up that slack. But this is a big reason why I'm ranking them number 11. And of course, I will understand any criticism down below in the comments saying, wow, like, why would you rank these guys so badly when you have teams like Philadelphia Fusion who also didn't make much changes? And you're right, Philadelphia Fusion didn't make much changes, but for some reason I feel like they didn't need to, whereas I feel like the LA Valiant did need to because they lost Soon. It's not like the Philadelphia Fusion lost EQL or Carpe. They lost no crucial pieces to their roster that made them successful during Season 1. Whereas the LA Valiant, I feel like they lost one of their most crucial pieces that made them successful in Stage 4. And now let's look at the second reason why I think the LA Valiant won't be as strong as they were during Stage 4 and the end of Overwatch League Season 1, and that's their coaching staff. Right now, looking at their coaching staff, they have two coaches, their head coach Moon and an assistant coach Stoop. Both these guys have been with the team for a while. But if you take a look at their former coaches, they lost 4 coaches during the offseason. They lost Ooks, who now went on to the Toronto Defiant. They lost Gunba, who went on to the Boston Uprising, and they lost Damon, who went on to the Paris Eternal, and then lastly they lost Grim Reality, who didn't go on to anywhere. But they lost 3 Overwatch League level coaches to other teams. And these guys are all good coaches. Damon and Gunba and Ooks, they all did great work for the LA Valiant, and there's a reason why they did get signed by other Overwatch League teams. And that means that crucial parts of the LA Valiant, like people who were involved in everything, have moved on to other teams, which means they have inside information on the LA Valiant. And also with Damon going to Paris Eternal, not only him, but Soon also has information of the inner workings of the LA Valiant. So I do feel like Paris Eternal might have an edge on the LA Valiant going into Season 2. And then the same thing with Ooks going over to Toronto Defiant and Gunba going over to the Boston Uprising. These teams might have an advantage. So I'm not too sure what made the LA Valiant want to downsize their coaching staff so much. They went from 5 guys to 2 guys. That's a major change, and that could definitely impact their performance going into this season. And I know something I need to touch on in this video is the fact that Space and Fate are a really, really good tank duo. And if it wasn't for them, I might even have ranked the LA Valiant even lower. And I know that's crazy to hear. But yes, they are incredible, and I am taking that into account. They probably are a top 5 main tank and off tank duo. I just have a ton of questions about this DPS lineup. I know Agilities is good, but I heard a lot of rumors during the offseason that he was unhappy with the LA Valiant and he wanted to change teams. And I know some of you guys might not believe me, but I really do believe the people that were telling me that. I think during the offseason he actually did want to play for a different team like Soon. But LA Valiant, they kept it under wraps, and I'm sure Agilities is fine at this point and he's preparing for the next season, but that is something to take into account. If something does go wrong with the LA Valiant, there's some drama within the team, someone who wanted to leave the team previously will probably quickly get into a slump or be very unhappy. And then moving on to the other DPS players, Bunny, I don't know, he was questionable during Season 1 for both Seoul Dynasty and the LA Valiant. LA Valiant acquired him during the mid-season signing window, and when he did play, it wasn't that impressive. Soon and Agilities were very easily the 2 best DPS players on this team. As for KSF, we've heard a lot about him being amazing in scrims. It's all over Reddit. Some players have said it on their streams. But has he proved himself actually yet? No, he hasn't. And when he was put in the Overwatch League for like 20 minutes during Season 1, he didn't do that great. And then lastly, we have Kariv, who LA Valiant did experiment with during Season 1 on DPS multiple times, and every time they didn't, I wouldn't say it didn't work out, but it's not like it was a miracle change and it was great. Kariv is an okay DPS player, his Widowmaker was alright, but when Soon started popping off, there was no use for him. So I'm just really worried about this DPS lineup. And then looking at the supports, Cust is great. We know he's a good shot caller, and he can provide a lot to a team when it comes to mental stability, but we look at their flex support, we have Izaki coming in, who is very inexperienced. He played 1 season of Contenders Korea with NC Foxes, and he got 5th through 8th place. Other than that, he's never competed in any major tournaments, he didn't get any starting time on the LA Valiant, so this guy can be extremely rusty. It's been almost a year since he's played. So that's the problem with me in the LA Valiant. I just have a lot of questions about them, and I find it hard to consider them a better team than a lot of these guys going into the Overwatch League. And I know a lot of you guys probably expected me to rank a lot of the expansion teams lower than the LA Valiant going into Season 2 due to their experience, but I feel like these expansion teams going into the Overwatch League also have their own type of experience. Maybe it's not Overwatch League experience, but the teams like Shanghai Dragons, Toronto Defiant, Vancouver Titans, Hangzhou Spark, they're all made up of very strong Overwatch Korean teams that were consistent powerhouses and had strong coaching staffs. And a lot of those players on those teams and coaching staffs moved together into the Overwatch League. So there is pre-existing synergy and experience. Again, I get it. It's not that exact Overwatch League experience, and that's a big factor. But the overall talent and explosiveness I see in a lot of these teams like Toronto, like Shanghai, Vancouver, Hangzhou Spark, they have explosiveness in their DPS players, in their tank players. Just playmaking ability all around the table, their flex support, which I think is a very key role in the Overwatch League, and I just don't know if Izaki is going to be able to do it. So these are my main concerns with the LA Valiant, and is the reason I'm ranking them number 11. And I know this video was sort of negative about the LA Valiant, and that's because I just wanted to explain my reasonings and my questions to why I think they aren't going to be so good going into the next season. But as I said earlier, we also need to realize that rank 11 isn't even that bad. There's so much talent going into Season 1 Overwatch League, and a team that is ranked number 11 could easily make the playoffs, no doubt. Overall, there's going to be 8 spots in Overwatch League Season 2 playoffs, and 6 of them are going to be secured from the standings, and then the other 6 teams ranked number 7 through 12 are going to fight each other, and the best team at the end of stage 4 out of those 6 teams will secure the last 2 spots. So it's very, very possible that the LA Valiant still make the playoffs at rank 11. That is going to be this video. If you guys did enjoy it, do me a favor, leave a comment down below, let me know that you liked it, and that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.